Hello everyone, I'm Aelkyr and this is Koyo,
Hi.
and this is To The Point. This is a little moment of time where we talk about, like TF2 rated things in Europe. And today we're going to talk about the upcoming season, the Autumn 22 seasons, aka season 43. And we're going to get right into it, I think, with the qualifier games, right?
Yeah.
So, first off, I think the first one that was played was 238 against Fuck the Process.
Yeah, because the
Yeah, they
Swift
played.
one was after the season started pretty much.
Yeah. So yeah, 238 were just like they got here like on the qualifier games just because they had like a good roster. They didn't have to play round one. So maybe like the fact that like they took a bit of time to start on the first map is just because like they were like not very sharp yet. I know that
Yeah,
like
they had the ring rust. Hadn't played an official in enough
yeah,
time.
they definitely like are the latest roster to be created, and I've been told this wasn't even the final roster.
Yeah, yeah. It was pretty last minute. Especially
Yeah.
because the team died and the team came back just before like
Mhm.
qualifiers, so they got shot into qualifiers. Uh,
Yeah. I feel like going into this game against like Five Big Process, I expected them to win, but also felt like like they could like get inside their own heads a little. I think they could have struggled against like a better team. Like I don't want to disrespect Big Process. I think they're okay, but I think like Swift on the other side looked really good as well. I think there could have been like a more dicey situation for 238.
yeah. I know that there was some people who were annoyed at the fact this uh qualifications like it's just single elim and the sort of seeding's a bit wonky.
Yeah.
Um,
At
but
the
I
same
think
time, yeah. At the same time, if you look at like just the names on the roster,
yeah, you can
like
see why admins would just go like, oh, put this team to like get the easier game or whatever.
yeah, and I think like it's not like they didn't deserve to win. I think also like something that I found interesting is that I thought they would have like Nivo and Pocket Scout and Amon playing Scout like they used to have when both of them play Scout together, but they swapped them around again. And I actually like this change a lot. I think, mm,
Like, yeah, it's more just for Nevo. I'm not sure about Amar on Scout too much, but I know that Nevo's like just better on flank Scout and he prefers it a lot. He was like that
yeah,
was the issue back in the old Aura was that Yehor and Nevo wanted to play flank Scout, so they cut Yehor and
yeah.
kept Nevo. Um,
And I think like I mean Ahmad dropped like really good luck on this qualifier game, and also like they played like a season of D1 like right before on Scott as well. So I remember like the first time they swapped to Scots, it was like straight into Prem, and they tried their best, but you could tell, right? Like like they weren't like
yeah,
up to par yet, and maybe like they've become better at it.
I mean for me it's just like it's just disappointing seeing that Amber's not on Soldier. He was just way better like
Mm.
sick on Soldier, and it's kind of
Yeah, even demo to be honest. I think Amarok's a really good player in general,
yeah. It
like
was
projectiles. But yeah, I mean, it's been a while since like Emma played like anything but Scout. I think so. They're pretty determined to make it work. I think.
hmm.
Yeah.
But I feel yeah the rest of the roster what is it? So Amma Nevo callback or like it was callback on Roma, but now it's slash Roma, Scar and Aelkyr. Oh, and Patchouli, Mr. Patchouli. And I
Yeah.
think that yeah, like I don't remember who was what before. It was like they had Loopy and Loopy Trum. I can't remember, but I feel this is a better roster like than the previous one, especially just from the like I don't know how Trum is in like teams, but from playing with him in pugs and things like that, like he can be a bit of a tilter. I feel like
Hmm.
Patchouli is a lot more chill. Um,
Yeah.
and the fact
I
that
don't
they're all
know.
just it's just like a French team, they're gonna vibe with each other a lot more.
Hmm. I think like I don't know about, like Petri personally, but I have to agree. Like I think also Petri is like someone who kind of snuck under the radar because like like those French teams they come and go every so often.
Mm.
But I think they're actually like a really good match.
I really rate Patchouli. I think like especially just the fact that when you have a medic player who can play other classes, like Patchouli's good
Mhm.
on, well, like not like prem level on soldier, but he can at least like uh play high on soldier and demo, and that just like
Yeah.
plays into it a lot. Whereas you
Isn't
get up,
Petri
yeah.
like technically like a Div 1 winner on the moment? I
Did he
say
win?
technically
Oh,
because
he's
it
saying it's
was
like
like
with
yeah, it
AZN.
was the in season.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Like
Um,
it's got to be worth something, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, having your flank scout be the best player in the world, kind of helped that a lot. Kind of
Yeah, I don't know if like they would
Mickey
have
Mouse
won.
moment.
Yeah, I mean, but I think Patrick's definitely like a solid player,
But yeah,
which is
I think Pachuli's really good. And then just having like the Scar's like, yeah, Scar's competent. Um,
yeah,
and like Slushes as well. Assuming he's like
yeah.
replacing callback.
They did like kind of like a weird like football manager move, or like they bring in Korbach, for like one game and like kill Slash
And kill
team and then
Slush's
like
team,
take
yeah.
Slash from that.
He,
Yeah, I mean Scar and Slash, like the fact that they actually played together last season is actually like pretty big for him. I think like
yeah,
what you want in your soldier combo is like coordination. I think
yeah.
and stuff.
It's all about that synergy and having that. Like the fact
Yeah,
they play a season together before is really good going into this season.
yeah, and
And
like
then they just have Aelkyr who's gonna hit his pipes.
yeah, like 30% and like dish it out.
Mm-hmm. Do
Uh,
you want to
I
talk about
do.
the process, or just want to move on to like the other
Mhm.
game?
I will say, like, I don't know, like expectation wise, I expected them to do better. Like, I would think they could take a map. I guess
I
they
no,
went.
I think yeah, no, I think they were like good enough. Getting like the close game against these guys was not um
Yeah,
like they're on like process going to Golden Cap and they could have won that. Like that's
yeah.
a close game. And if it go, I don't know what map 3 would have been, but if it goes to map 3,
Uh,
maybe they like have pull something out.
I
Uh,
think it was Granary. I could be wrong.
right.
Um,
And yeah, like their roster was pretty like good.
yeah,
Just rate like I just rate their scouts really highly. Hemp and Pandemic
mhm,
are really good. Uh,
I agree with you.
and
I've
I think
seen like logs of like Pandemic like absolutely fucking on Swift.
yeah,
Like,
he's
like
doing well now.
Tempest, obviously like strong like from performance last season and everything.
Hmm.
But yeah, like, I think like I just thought, like I would expect them to do well, especially against the Frenchies, right? Because like they're like a bunch of people who will know each other, who've played together for a while, and the Frenchies, like we've talked about this before, right? Like they can like leadership sometimes, and this was like a very new team as well. So I kind of expected, like the team coordination diff to like kick in. I guess like the gap was just like too big.
Yeah, well, what fuck the process? Did they play last season together?
No, they played this season
They
before.
played season
You're right.
before and
They have
they came second slash like first because
yeah,
AZM, yeah. Uh,
legally first. Uh,
and oh yeah, of course, because Hampus was playing New Panzer. Um,
mhm.
I don't know. I kind
I
of
mean,
like I don't rate. I know I of course like I'm never gonna rate like Doey highly. I do like like I appreciate Doey. I appreciate his like passion for the game and he
yeah.
gets into it and he like um that aspect of it. But he's just not
Mhm,
like good mechanically and he's not like good mentally. Doey's
mhm.
mental is pretty bad. Where like it can work. Like I don't think I would mind playing on a team with Doey, as in like I would be okay with him like getting annoyed at people every now and then or whatever, because like you kind of need that sometimes, but it is like a bit too much.
Yeah, and I think like um I think Derpy Hooves is also like a bit I don't know, like lackluster. I don't think like they're a bad player,
Yeah,
but they also like
yeah
they don't really have the X factor.
ALX like really underperforms to how like his level should be. I think
Mhm.
like he's someone who has like really good potential. Like you can talk to, or like I know like he has really good DM, but then he never utilizes it in the right way. Um, and he has just like some issues that he's like not able to solve. It seems. Uh,
Well, they're dead now.
yeah,
But
they're dead now. Don't need to. And then yeah, like what Jordy and Slash. Like I like they're both
yeah,
like good competent soldiers. But
yeah.
I
I
wouldn't like
actually rated Jordy really high when like they first came into Prem, but I feel like they've been a bit like in and out more
mm,
recently. Not as sharp as they used to be, I think.
yeah, no, that
Uh,
works out.
but yeah, yeah. So that was like the first qualifier game, and then the second one was Comedy Shorts Gaming against Swift, and this
Yeah.
one was a free mapper with a Swift win at the start, 3-2 on Snakewater before like 3-1 and 5-1 from Comedy Shorts Gaming. This
I
one was very interesting to watch, I think.
Yeah, this game was it was interesting. I didn't Snake was yeah, it was very like weird.
Mm,
I think that yeah, the weirdness came from like uh kind of just like some the people who would expect like on Comedy Shorts Gaming what they have was it's well they're scouts, it's Amz and Yihor who yeah, like they're like solid. Like Amda's of course good, even though he's like might be a bit washed. He's still gonna perform well. Like his aim's not gonna like degrade by too much. He's just like such a talented guy.
So like like plays well with Kondog, on for
Yeah,
being
yeah, and then yeah, they have
fast.
Condog on B on the medic role with
You have Charlie and Hans on
Charlie and
Sword.
Horn. So yeah, I think Charlie's solid. Charlie's always going to be like Charlie's got really solid just mechanics. Like it's really like impressive to see just how because he's someone that can actually like utilize it sometimes, where like other people aren't able to. He can do like the crazy speed shots into
Yeah,
last and things like that. Where even though yeah, and then he does hit he has like very consistent aim, uh, which
yeah,
is
no,
always
I
good to see.
agree with
And I feel
you.
like yeah, the who's oh sorry, you go on.
No, I felt like I was surprised at like how good Charlie was for like their compared like prem experience, which is like a couple of like fourth place and third place, and not even that many,
Yeah, no,
like based.
I really rate. Well, I think that Charlie's always suffered from. He's always had to like main call for his teams and make his own teams,
Mhm.
and like he's just sort of stuck in this like thing where he has to like have, you know,
Like
yeah,
responsibilities.
yeah, responsible. And like in this team, given that I assume it's more like Am's calling it, and he's
Yeah,
probably contributing somewhat to it, but it's mostly going to be on Am's. Uh,
yeah, it's a weight off their shoulders.
yeah, like and then he's just able to focus more on his own like individual game, which
Yeah,
is just going to
definitely.
help him like a lot because I think he is like really strong on Soldier. He's one of the people who like I think he does have like the he's only someone who could contend with like the top like players in Europe just out of like mechanics, like just his like just raw aim. Um,
I would expect like a season or two, like on a solid team to like
yeah,
challenge.
yeah, like that's the thing where like Charlie, I think he could be really good if this team stays together, like I think they could be uh like top three consistently, maybe like challenging for TF2 Easy, or I know that TF2 Easy is probably not going to play like after the end of this year, so like it's like
Oh, yeah,
him and Flick battling it out to see who's going to come second.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, and then Hans is your soldier and
And then
Fancy's with him.
yeah, Haunts and Fancy. So and Fancy, yeah, Fancy's all like he's sick. Fancy's really good, like consistently able to put up like damage and hit his pipes like
Yeah, like I've been looking at like
and
lots.
Fancy's also somewhat sorry, like to interrupt,
Yeah.
but it's something where like you might because he's like always a bit young, but he's
Hmm.
someone who does like care about like playing the game properly, and he does take criticism and he does like adapt to things. Like he's not just
Not
oh
a no.
yeah, he's not just like a no brainer. Even though maybe him like self isn't, it's not as if he's like gonna main call for any like prem team anytime soon, but he's
Hmm.
still like yeah, he's like committed to it, which is always good to see. It's not as if he's someone who's like blinded by his ego or
Yeah,
like
definitely
by
like
his
a player who could benefit a lot from like the experience on the team.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And then for Haunts, like I'm here on missing Haunts, where I think that uh, he can be really good at
Hmm.
times, but I think especially on Snakewater, he was not like he was doing some just question like shit I would shit I
Yeah,
would do if I was like pugging and then just going for like air shots on scouts rather than um getting to like good position or uh
yeah. I think
committing. But yeah,
I
he was
think
just like
Hans has good mechanics. Like I don't think there's any like debate about that, but they seem like a bit raw. I guess like I would expect them to get like exploited by like experienced flanks.
yeah, yeah, that's like I think because once he definitely has like he has the movement and the mechanic like the DM, but it's gonna be like him just getting caught out by uh shit coming into Prem. So yeah, like he's obviously like the weak link on the team. He's the like least experienced, least
I barely played Prem even.
no once hasn't played Prem I don't think right.
I think maybe like played like Prem qualifiers for like Mandem, and then like you took the
Uh
spot because like, you had to.
they had AZN for qualifiers.
Oh shit! Then
AZN
I
and then yeah, and then
yeah
I
maybe not Prem.
and then they had bronze after me. So he didn't play Prem. He was just like subbing that season. He had like work or whatever. Uh, so yeah, he's not got that Prem experience. Even if he's been like around for a while.
Hmm?
I mean, it's not something where like I'm not I don't want to be like I'm not being like too harsh on it. It's obviously like he's inexperienced, and I'm confident that given that experience, he can be good and he can
Yeah,
get up to the level of this team. It's just sort of like at the moment, like it's gonna be a shaky like few weeks. Uh,
yeah. This is what
for
I
him to
mean.
build
Like
it up.
very
And it showed in the like
yeah,
qualifier game where yeah he was like a bit shaky, like the nerves are showing. Um,
definitely. I think like I don't know V1 war is like unpolished, right? Like you're definitely like
hmm
expecting more, but at the same time like they have like the skills to pay the bills. It's just like a matter of like like thinking better about it.
hmm
But yeah, and then Swift, which was like
It was at
uh,
the time. It was
right?
Shappy
Chap-
and Sneaky. So Shappy
mm,
Pocket Scout, Warped and Danny.
Yep.
Warped Roma, Danny Pocket,
Oh yeah, and then you pick up Mac
and
and
then Mac
Gregory,
and Gregory.
the
So
Turkish combo.
yeah, and Danny's also like Turkish descent. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I know. That's
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, they took full Turkish combo. Yeah.
mm,
And now it is full Turkish because they've got pandemic.
yeah, you
So
know.
yeah, this was
Uh,
like it was like really good showing from them to. I mean, they've been practicing Snake a lot, and it's also a thing of where they played a lot better in the official, to where like it's a type of thing where I get annoyed like teams going or like they would lose, they're losing to like the Yak, they would lose like every scrim. But it's not that they're not like at least Mac because Mac's streaming it, it's really good insight into like the team stuff where
mhm,
he is microing them a lot, and because he
yeah.
has the experience, he's obviously like he's only one on the roster that's run one Prem. The rest haven't even like played Prem.
Well, definitely played
Well, I mean,
Prem.
apart from Warp's played Prem, but then Gregory hasn't, Sneaky
Yeah,
hasn't,
none of them.
Chappie's like mm,
Chappie played demo in Prem, I think.
Chappie.
So
Yeah, he played what was he on DD5
24
abs?
thing. Like
I
he
know
played
he
one, I think, and dipped.
and then he played season 23, and then season 24 they played qualifiers again, and he rage quit the team in
Yeah,
qualifiers. So like yeah, getting rid of I mean like Chappie, that's a thing where he has really good DM, but he's just not like a good teammate to where
yeah. I heard like some comes on like a warped video, I think, and it was just like, man, this guy is angry about something.
yeah like where it's them getting rid of Chappie like gives them a big leg up. If they were able to have like pandemic for
Yeah,
qualifiers, maybe this game would have gone differently, and they would have like maybe won it. This is a thing
maybe.
where like the Swift team we were talking about, like where uh these qualifiers could maybe would have been better served if they were double a limb. And you could have taken out like realistically like the teams that lost round one, like my team and uh like the Lupus team, like we shouldn't have been in the qualifiers. Like it should have been
You're like
um
fluffers.
make it like double a limb and then pull down like the two teams from Premier we're going to talk about later.
Yeah, and then that would have been 6 teams, right?
Yeah, then it would like still been 16s, but then you have it be you just force them to play like the games like sooner. I think it's the type of thing like where because it's just like a community thing where people don't want to force like people to like play or whatever because it's or like people have work and schedule's bad. But I feel that for
Mhm.
the qualifiers, like you can if they don't qualify, they don't qualify. Like you kind of just have to force it to happen. And it's maybe a thing where like the qualifier, like the sign up for it, isn't far enough in advance because you only have that short like 1 week period of like
Yeah, that does like create a reduced schedule.
and yeah that means that you have to like force it into. Well, but there was also like my idea for it was that one of the things is like I don't know why we don't just have Prem be like why can't we just split it into two groups and just have one group like two groups of six and then have it be like the top two or top three like go to playoffs and
Like in Div 2, basically.
yeah just have it be but instead of having like it because don't have enough teams for it to be like eight sorry for
Hmm.
it to be like 16 teams but at least just having like a few more and then it also means that there's like a few less officials if you have like the 6 teams rather than 8 teams
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
you're able to like have playoffs be like qualifiers and then playoffs also be like a bit longer to account
Yeah.
for.
At the
Um,
same time, like sometimes, like like you would have like Prem seasons where like a
and
group is just like a bit better than the
this
other, and
is where like I feel that you should be you can have um the ability to like change that shit to like change the format to be this season we've got like so many teams signing up and wanting to play Prem that are all like of a decent level. Why don't we just like make them why don't we just put them into Prem and just have it be like split into you seed the groups. Um,
yeah, I suppose, yeah, like I guess like they don't really want to like adjust every season or like like we've done Prem
yeah,
like this way for like
yeah, I know, but
years
it's sort of like a lack of thing of like when you have this opportunity where because you don't like it's the thing where you're saying like the last few seasons of Prem have been like media like the of course like top two has been good to watch, but then after that it turns into like it's really not good.
very
Um,
hit.
yeah, it's very hit or miss, and it's sort of like when you actually get a season like this where so many people want to play Prem and they're like the level is so good like from Div One to Prem like the level of like this season's really
Yeah, I hear you.
high.
We should be able to like capitalize on this.
Yeah, you should like go for like and make it be like a better season based off of that. But anyway, like that's by the by. We're talking about
Yeah,
like Swift.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Swift lost this game. It was like a close. They could have like there was a few like moments on Granary where they got like the leg up and then
Mm-hmm.
something like disastrous went wrong where they got like over eager um
Yeah,
and,
I think Swift played well. Like you could tell that like they were like used to playing with one another for a long time. Like,
and yeah, that's yeah. Swift showed really good potential like off of this game to where
but at the same time, yeah, like I don't think like this Swift, like with this roster, like I don't really see them beating community
well
shorts.
that's the thing where like it would have been a lot better if this qualifier was like double a limb.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah.
But yeah,
Uh,
keep an eye out for Swift, everyone. Big things coming. Uh,
yeah, Swift. Yeah, they should. They're like they're the team that should win Div 1 this season. Uh,
yeah, I don't really know who's in Div 1, but I see their logs pop up all the time in Prem games, and they've been like giving a lot of like lower Prem teams like good runs for their
mhm.
money. So definitely like good signs.
And yeah,
And
it's on like if other people are able to catch up to Mac. Like Mac, because Mac's like micro them a lot. If they are able to pick up on the stuff that Mac's saying rather than him having to micro them, it can be really good for that team. Like when,
yeah, for their
uh,
growth.
yeah. Um,
Right. So
that's qualified. So now we have like the 8 teams in Prem.
yeah, yeah. Are there like more things we want to say about like the teams who just qualified?
Teams are qualified. So I kind of 2038 are it's like an interesting. It's mostly it's just I kind of just feel it's a lot of just a reliance on. I'm not really sure because they're a mix. It's a mixed roster.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Slash and Scar, of course, like they have that synergy, but um, the rest it feels like it's gonna be like pretty weird. And also like Slash, they're not as if they're like a top. Um,
And like I do, like it's nice that they have two soldiers to play together, but like losing Kovac is a pretty big
and yeah,
loss.
like Slash, no no disrespect, but of course Callback is like the better player.
Yeah,
Just Callback's insanely good. Um,
Kovac's like probably like one of the like is in the conversation I think for like best player to never win Prem.
hmm Yeah,
Like
definitely one of those.
there's only like a few other. But yeah, so I think 2030 is interesting because last season we already had like some kind of like French mix thing that like obviously like died a very funny death. Uh, but like even before like the ban, I really think like like they had like some glaring issues. Like like
Well,
they
yeah, that's the thing where like these teams don't have like the French team just doesn't have a main caller. I don't
Mhm.
know about like Forfence. I'm not sure like how their calls work, but
I think for offense they do have like some collective calling. I think like Alex and Bergman are both very vocal at least.
yeah. But I know
Like they
that's
do
like the thing
very
that's what's like cursed the like French teams where they would always have like good mechanics, good DM,
little.
but since they're not playing with Ombrak anymore, they don't have that direction.
Yeah.
Um,
They
which
need
is
to
like
like
a
pay like Olga or Umbrak to come out of retirement.
it's just hopefully that there's a I don't know how
But
you
yeah,
like foster it because they just need someone to like come up from the lower divs who can actually just like do it right.
yeah,
Someone else the confidence, and then for them to like trust in that person to actually like call it and develop, rather
yeah.
than just like oh no, we're just gonna go with like the same core of DM players that we've played with for ages.
It's kind of rough because yeah, like they're all so used to playing with each other, but like it's hard to break into that group. I feel like
Hmm
I mean it's a coincidence that for a point in time you had like two French teams, with like very like little crossover, and
Yeah.
even today like there is some, but like not that much. But yeah, but like top five last season, I thought they looked really aimless. Like they really relied on like individual prowess. Obviously, like they had a little help in that individual prowess side, but I think this team, like has like better potential compared to like the last top five, because I think like Ama and Nivo are both like much more talkative than like Asian and Neo. I don't really know like how much Asian speaks at all. But I don't really think Neo's like a leader either. Like they're good at like following calls, but I don't really see them like like taking charge. So I feel like like there is a world where like they don't look as like like directionless against like good teams. I was saying like yeah, I thought like at least like 2038, they have like scouts that are a lot more talkative. So I
Oh
would
yeah,
hope
yeah.
that
I think that that's
especially
the
like
thing with like Neo, not the most like he's not a leader. Whereas Amarok, I know Amarok like he's kind of the weird thing is he's kind of like soft spoken and not very like what's the word for it? Like there's not
It's
you know
very directive.
not again not that he's not like a dictator, right? Like he's not doughy. That's like I can't really, like he's not gonna call like Banny, right? It's gonna be pretty like
Very polite suggestions,
yeah,
not
yeah,
like.
like and he will say, come with me, but there's no urgency. That's the thing. He can
Mm,
like lack the urgency in his comms, which can like hurt like a leader.
hmm.
And this
Yeah,
type
I
of
would
thing.
expect like Nevo to like be able to like do some calling from the flank. Like
And yeah,
Nevo's been leading for a long time on Beam, I feel like. So, there must be like something that they can do.
yeah, I'm like yeah, they should be. But it's kind of like weird to. We'll talk about it later when we do like the rankings, but where I would actually like place this team amongst the other ones. It's like a
Definitely one of
difficult.
those like potential teams, right?
Yeah,
Like if
yeah.
everything goes well, they're really good, but they could also be really, really
If
bad.
yeah, if like the communication goes wrong or whatever,
Yeah,
like yeah, it can not be the best.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Uh, Speaking of potential, I also think that like the comedy shorts, like are definitely like an interesting one to rank. We'll talk about this later, obviously, but they are like I don't think they can like like really like be bad. I think like the roster that they picked out has a lot of promise, but I do wonder like how high can they go? It is the first season. Can you really like challenge like the top two already?
Yeah, yeah,
This stuff.
yeah. The next thing we have listed was it full fence.
Yeah, let's
Um,
go with offense. Knock
so
out all the Frenchies. So for offense, it's Neo and QB on scouts. You get Alex and Bergman on soldiers, Alien, Smiley on demoman, and Juxta medic.
so I think this team does like again show promise.
Mhm.
Like like Brugesman, like everyone ranting rave about like Brugesman's playing like pretty good. He's improving a lot.
I
Um,
think yeah, Bergman for me was like debut of the season before like Slash actually like played well in playoffs, so they got it. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
still think Bergman could have gotten it.
And then like so, and I feel this roster is definitely like a lot more. It's a lot more solid. Like from a is it more solid from a key? Because I'm the scouts like again, it's like the issue with like French scouts aren't well, there's not like a lot of like good communication with QB and
Mhm.
Neo. That feels like that's gonna
Yeah,
be like an issue for them. Um, so I
no,
rate like I rate like Alien, Brugesman, and Juxta.
yeah,
Juxta like not so much. He was like kind of it's. I would put like yeah Patchouli above Juxta. So kind of like yeah. I'm not too sure actually if I would put. I definitely wouldn't put this one then above 2038. Even though they do show potential, it's kind of like they still have to find their footing and find like how to
yeah.
climb up a
I think
bit.
I
I
think
think
it's interesting that like like they were coming into Div One from like from Prem uh after like 1 or 2 seasons of Div One, right? I don't even think they got playoffs in there, and they really like like grinded the game out, and they're still doing it. So I feel like there's also like one of those teams who could just like like just keep
they
getting
can break
better.
through. Yeah, that's the thing. Like
Yeah,
once like if people are able to like improve to the right level and like yeah like reach like a peak,
mm-hmm.
it's something yeah like one if that and if they're able to like make that peak like not just a peak like be more consistent at that level,
Yeah,
then they could be. I feel like Neo is gonna like help them out in just like the the mechanics like the deathmatch department where they're
yeah,
gonna be
definitely.
like their fragging is gonna be better than who was it they had on Polyscope before?
And they're Juxta.
They're Juxta. Okay, right, yeah, and Juxta's gone to Medic. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
definitely like an upgrade where Juxta had
yeah,
some like funky Ubers last season. I remember watching, where he took quite a few, yeah, like that were just, oh, like scout
yeah.
trade, and then he just misses all his shots. Where it's
And
like
yeah,
I don't like I'm not gonna hate on him for it. It's like that's just the role that his team needed.
yeah,
Um,
that's life. But yeah, I think like Neo's definitely like a good pickup. Like I've been like I've been a bit down on Neo before, like compared to like other like top Prem scouts, because Neo like is in the conversation for top Prem scouts. Like they won Prem and everything. Uh, but yeah, like like this is like for a team that like was like sixth place. This is a huge pickup, and I also think that like uh maybe like Neo's like like will like like take more responsibilities playing with like like those different players.
yeah, yeah, that's the thing that you'd like to see is um if Neo would be able to like take his experience and apply it to helping out the rest of the people on the team. But
Hmm.
I feel that's not like necessarily like who he is as like a player. I've I've not got the insight into it, but that's just like how it seems from the outside. Like
Yeah.
I'm not part of the French scene, but
Yeah, I mean,
uh,
it's not like I really know Neo either. I just think sometimes, like you play the same people for so long that it kind of like makes you have bad habits, and like changing the, like the stage, changing where you play, could like, like
shuffle
make
things up a
you,
bit, yeah, and like shake
make you
out some
reconsider.
bad habits,
Yeah.
like you said, yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
But yeah, interesting team. I feel like we're gonna say that a lot. I think like there's a lot of teams.
yeah, like this season of French of Prem is good. Like all the teams,
Yeah,
like it's
very
gonna be
excited.
it's interesting like throughout the entire division of like the top two are interesting. Like Witness, even though Witness should like win it, right? But then
Yeah,
like the
but
whole thing is like there's matchups that are gonna be interesting like from every week probably. So
definitely, yeah. Like there's a triple ladder tonight. I'm very sad, we can't get TF2 on, and it's also a thing you say too often, I think. Uh, but yeah, anything else for four fans, or do you want to move on?
I feel like yeah, that's enough on them. We're just gonna go around in circles if we say anymore.
Yeah. So Venom Crest, then we also like had a one change of our roster. So it's Junu High Scouts, Kane and Tyran Soldiers, Yak Demoman and Boy Medic. And they swapped out Vanu for Junu. That
Club
is the
Run
change.
Opportunity, so yeah, that's like a big up like having talked to like Poi a bit where like last season they weren't too convinced on like Varney on Pocket Scout.
Yeah.
Having like yeah, she's been saying that Juno on Pocket Scout's a lot better. Like just having someone who is gonna like play the beam more. But I
Mm-hmm.
still feel like their team like structure just as a whole is not like
It's a bit odd, isn't it?
it's just they're not like set up for success in like in
Mm-hmm.
Prem at least. Like there's the type of team where yeah they could just DM it and win Div 1, but they're not gonna like they're an upset team only. Like they're gonna have a game where
Yeah.
several people are gonna peak. Like Not House is gonna have like a big peak, and KN and like Taram are gonna have big peaks, and then they just win that match. They just win a match against like an AMS team or um like a and that's
Or
like
League of Shadows or something.
yeah
Yeah.
like they could do that like just out of or like win a map at least like just having insane individual performances from players.
Yeah.
But their like structure as a team is just not like set up to be like consistently successful. Where like they're just gonna take like dumb fights, um,
Mhm.
and if these things don't work out, then um, if people miss their shots or if the other team just happens to like just play a situation just like way better than they do, like it's just not
Yeah,
gonna.
definitely. I feel like they remind me a little of like like team in like football who like are set up to like counter attack, right? Like they are really annoying to break down if you're a top team, but at the same time, like like they're very rigid because of their structure, and they're not really able to like really challenge for anything. Like they won't like get enough points overall.
So, yeah, but I think that's not really like the team is just like a group of they're just I assume I don't know like they're just they're happy playing together. They're like that group of players like they can only play together pretty much. So
Okay, that's
it
definitely
works
true.
out for them where yeah they're not gonna be like a top team. They're like
Yeah, I feel
I
like
don't see like the players on the roster like having potential really. Like I think Poi is probably the person with like the most potential on the team, but they're playing medic and also have some like um uh issues like non-related to like how they're like gameplay wise.
yeah,
Um so like yeah, I think that's just they're not necessarily like a team that's gonna they're probably like the least exciting team I'm gonna say out of like
yeah.
the
We
Prem
talked a lot
teams.
about potential. This team has a lot of like upset potential, but at the same time, yeah, I don't really see them grow. I
Yeah,
don't really see
there's
them
no growth
challenge
like yeah.
or spot or anything like that. I feel like they're at the moment like they're content playing the way they are, and some of the players like are also like very dead set on playing the game like this. So that does kind of like
Yeah.
move a lot of like like learning potential.
Yeah, like Yak's calls are never going to adapt. Like that's just the way it's gonna be. They're gonna keep on doing the same shit.
Yeah,
Um,
and they're very dependent on the act calls. You said.
yeah. So I think, and then
And
that's kind of like it. I don't really have much to say like anything else apart from they have good like mechanics. Like mechanically
yeah,
on that team, everyone's really good. Like Nuthouse can like have insanely high peaks where he just doesn't miss. But uh,
absolutely.
that's it for that team where it's just like mechanical peaks are gonna be what
Yeah,
like maybe gives them an upset win.
they might be better this season because of the two Cuff maps. But honestly, I'm not even that sure because Cuff in Prime it's more than just like raw DM. Uh, yeah. So move on to
Yeah.
Duplo
So
then
my
the Swedes.
boys, the Swedes,
No
plus
bias in this
yeah.
season.
Well, no, I mean, I'm of course gonna be biased where like
Yeah, you have to
I can't
disclose your
hide it. Where
biases. Yeah.
like on what? So we have Boulder, Sui.
Mm-hmm.
Which one's
Alba and
Pocket?
Grix.
Grix, yeah,
Uh,
Grix Pocket, Alba Rome, and
and
then
then Gal Demerman and Agent, the Norwegian.
Agent Spice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel yeah, this is like it is a kind of like a messy team to where it's gonna like they showed what their week one game against League of Shadows. That was really good, like good showing where they could have taken like both maps.
I'm
Is
not so sure about that. I
was
felt like
what was it? It was Sunshine Process, right? I think Process was maybe a bit yeah, like they lost Process. Um
Sunshine does a world. I agree with Sunshine.
yeah, Sunshine was definitely like winnable. Um
Yeah. But I also think like League of Shadows like opted to like, like not think too hard about the game and like, like just like play the same game as Duplo and have confidence that they're the better team and they're gonna win it. Like I feel like, like they could have like thought a bit harder.
yeah, that's the thing where like it's the League of Shadows weren't taking it like the most seriously. Like they did some weird fucking like sniper Uber on Process to where they drop flick and like they go IT with a sniper and scout and then they drop flick, so it's just a sniper Uber and it's like, oh, this is dreadful. And they need like they could have choked Process. Like that's why I'm saying like it could have been if they hadn't decided to do this like these dumb plays, then yeah, I think the process like it would have been an easy win for League of Shadows on Process, but they had that like the potential to just like, oh, we're playing against a lower team, we're gonna end up like trolling and
Yeah, like they were confident in winning, so they just like did
yeah.
whatever.
Um
But yeah, going back to Duplo, you're right. Like I don't want to be mean to Duplo because I do think they looked pretty good. Like we've actually seen like a few good teams as like I mentioned in my article. I forgot that Force Kings. Jackie X posted a very like
yeah.
funny image. I'm really sorry. I would like to take this one to officially apologize. No, but we've seen like teams move up from Div One, and it's kind of been like hit or miss over the years. We've had really good teams and also teams who just like completely like are not ready for this level. And like Duplo, I feel like they've been here to play. Like they've got their own like style of play. They have like really, and they're all really committed to it.
Yeah, they're a committed team, and they all like it's all about like as you can't. I don't think you could play on a roster with Boulder and not be committed to where that guy is just so good, where you wouldn't just like feel bad if you weren't able to like keep up with him,
Yeah,
which they obviously like no one on that team is able to keep up with him. Like that's just like the fact where he is by far their best player. He's their main caller. Like he micros them. He has like he takes the initiative in situations. He's
yeah,
just their like best mechanical player. He plays super smart.
yeah.
To
So is
where
this
like
with Bando fan cam?
it's yeah it's like it is just bold. It is again like it's Boulder. Like he's just helped. Like he could easily be Pocket Scout for a top like the top for like the top two. Like he could replace Tomas and maybe not like if maybe Tomas has to stay and like play Roma that type of thing. Like if Tomas ends up like not if they like need a roamer and they can't get someone, they need like just Tomas swaps to it again, and they have they can like pick a Boulder for that. And it's not as if they're not going to be like, of course they'd be like a downgrade, but he can definitely like fill in the role like better than any other
I see.
player like could,
Yeah,
right? Like I feel
I'm
that
not like friends with Boulder, so like I don't know if like I could say like Boulder could walk into Witness Gaming, but I will say I agree with you. Like I think like you were telling me about Boulder like a while ago, and I was like, yeah, like this guy is good, but like the more I see them play, like the more like it's obvious, right? Like
it's
there's
so yeah, it's always been
potential
super
for
like
upgrade.
since like for years it's been obvious that he's super good, like and way better than any of the people he's been playing with. It's like good to finally see him in Prem. Like that's the it's just and he's finally gonna have like that
Yeah, so he's gonna
recognition. He's already got that
keep an
recognition. Like everyone already knows that Boulder's really good, but like seeing this season and him, the fact that, he was almost able to beat Flick on Sunshine, like that's a good like the fact that team
yeah,
came third and they like have upgrades on their roster, have an upgraded roster like that shows just really like good. Um,
yeah, and I think like I was personally impressed by like the maturity of Baldo's performance, right? Like it's not just someone who's like like mechanically gifted. It's very like the whole package. It's not like they're just
yeah,
like
he played like
Sui who like runs in and two shots everything.
yeah he plays his role perfectly. He like not perfect like that's of course like me being biased, but he's like super good and he like thinks about it a lot. He's like super thoughtful player, and like all these things the way like I'm sorry for like I'm not going on about like, the rest of because I'm just like hard
Yeah,
focusing
the other people,
on
they're like
Boulder, but like I
accessory.
don't think that the other players are gonna actually like mind too much. Like that, they all know that it's Boulder that is like their
Mm.
carry, and that like everyone just wants to see him be on a team where like he has like,
Definitely like keep an eye out, for debut of the season, because I feel
yeah,
like that's
Boulder wins
like
debut like hands down. There's no way anyone can take like debut away from Boulder this season.
I mean,
Um,
I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but first of all, like French people will vote for any French people they see, and
but haven't all the French people played Prem?
oh fuck, maybe you're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Second of all, I do think that like the vote comes in really late, so like playoff performance are what really matters a lot of the time.
yeah,
So
but I mean,
we'll
well,
see.
that's the thing where like there's no. I suppose there's Haunts on the AMS team. Haunts might maybe take it
Yeah,
if like they do well in playoffs.
I was
Um,
thinking about votes. Yeah.
but I
Mhm.
feel just like it's just overwhelmingly that like Boulder is just by far like the standout player like debut for this season.
But yeah, you
And
wanna
the rest,
quickly
yeah,
like
the rest
go
of the
through
people
the rest of the team
on
while we're talking?
Duplo, I feel that well, they're just like they have like the synergy of being all speaking Swedish. They play with
Yep.
each other for so long. Not everyone on that roster though, but like it's been like a shaky. Like they had Umbra, um, Umbra's like gone. Maybe he can't play LAN or something like that. I don't
Mhm.
remember what Boulder said to me. And then they have like so they've got Alberon, Soldier. Or who was their Soldier last season? It was Sui. Yeah, Sui on Soldier.
Wait, so we moved around.
Yeah, like Sui was roaming last season. Now they've got um
Alba and Griggs, yeah.
Albert and Grix. Yeah, and Grix like he's someone. Grix is good DM.
Yeah,
Um, but again, it's where like the
it's where it
no,
ends.
yeah, this it's where it's not where it ends. Like I've playing with Grix is fun. He's good. Like
Yeah.
good atmosphere. Like it's all these players have good atmosphere. Like I love they're playing Agent and all these people. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's just about like it's more from like insider info on the fact that it's kind of the initiative comes from Boulder, and if Boulder's like dead, like their team can struggle to um make like the correct decision without him telling them what to do.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
and he doesn't uh, he's not the type of person who's like willing to like he does like micro these guys a bit from what I know, but he's probably not willing to tell them like, oh, you need to make this play like right now, like from the def cam. Maybe
Yeah.
he's not like willing to do that stuff to like give people like the nudge when like that's kind of what these people need. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they need to like if the other people on the team learn to take like more liberties with how they're playing and learn
Mm-hmm.
to um take their own initiative and to like make things. I think that probably Swede's gonna help out a lot with that. Even though like
Swiss
Umbra,
defeat like the like first of all like the only player who has played Prem on on
Swede
Steam,
is
because Alba like only played Scout in Prem.
yes.
So hopefully like that does like help a lot. So you think like in general, if they want to take it to the next level, like this is what they need to do.
It's the other players on the roster have to step up. Like that's the main thing you have to see is you have to see um like Alba and Grix like be really in sync with each other and
Mm-hmm.
make like the space for Gar and Boulder. Like Gar is good mechanically,
Yeah,
but he is like a bit of a um
I thought bit passive
yeah, like it's just
from
a
like
bit
the one games.
it's a bit like I think sometimes like Gar can overextend a lot. Sometimes he can bait a bit. Like he
Mm-hmm.
needs to find out like the right balance of stuff to like
Right. Yeah.
to like work alongside Boulder, and then they like their soldiers just need to like facilitate Gar and Boulder just making shit happen. And
I
then
will
Swede
say
Swede, yeah, and then saying about Swede like he if they can utilize him to be just like this really annoying like rat
yeah,
scout
pure
and
gremlin.
yeah, just like pure gremlin making like stuff happen that um and that their combo can then like Boulder and shit can then play off of. That'd
Yeah.
be really good for the team. Like where like Umbra, like I think that because this thing is Sweet gonna be like kind of washed, and he probably
Mm.
is like especially compared to like Umbra. Umbra was like really good mechanically. Um,
I mean, Swiss not a slouch either.
and that's the thing, yeah. But like Sweet, yeah, Sweet is of course like good mechanically, but will he be able to get back to like where he was on um like second place Prem team, etc. Didn't play like Prem
That
finals,
is
but
true.
was second place Prem. Obviously is like a good player and like um, but I feel like it's type of thing where it's not like a standalone thing. He needs like the team to like facilitate him a bit. Um,
Yeah, and I do wonder like how will like the play style, like uh work out against teams that are like more like willing to like stand back and like be coordinated compared to League of Shadows.
oh yeah, like how are they gonna when they go up against like well that's the thing where I feel that they should have a chance against every other team apart from like Witness and TF2 Easy.
I
Especially
feel like
team
for
they
me
should.
they're definitely like get off like wildcard. I feel like they're gonna be really good on
Yeah,
Kof.
they've been really good on Kof. Um,
And it's gonna be interesting. It's definitely like I think it's definitely like yeah, it's a hard season to predict, but I think Duplo like they have like the mentality to like make every game complicated, right? Because like they're just new here.
and also there's a thing that because these guys are keen, like the rest of the players, like it's not as if it's just Boulder like working away and then everyone else is like just like pissing about and not doing anything. Like they are, they do want to win. They do want to improve. They are like
Yeah,
they're going to they're competing at LAN together. Next month, right? Is it next month? Yeah, next
at the
month.
end of November.
And yeah, like
Yeah,
I think
you could see that even in the game, right? Like it wasn't like like Boulder was carrying while the rest of the team was like doing whatever. Like you could tell that like
yeah
they
they
were
are all
trying
trying
to
to.
play off each other and everything. Like they're
I
really
think
like.
that it's something if they can get it to just click, like if it can fall into place, they can
Mhm.
be really like strong and contend with like the rest of the teams. But
Yeah,
if things
I,
are a bit shaky, if people aren't able to like perform to the like to their like highest level, then it's going to be like hard for them to get
yeah.
wins.
I feel like for me, like they're more like a next season team, right? I feel like this is
Yeah.
like it's a bit like a battle for offense because for offense wasn't like super good when they came into Prem, but like I would expect them to like more like settle in and then like like
Yeah.
build on
It
what they
depends
want
on like
to
well
if they survive.
yeah like where I think that it does have to be like everyone else does have to step up. Boulder's proven that he's just super good.
Yep,
Um.
we love Boulder on this show.
Yeah. I love that guy,
Mm-hmm.
even though he's an asshole. Fucking
Okay,
hate that
okay.
guy.
Okay, we're gonna get our Spotify till cancelled. Uh, yeah. So
And then like so we're talking about like League of Shadows in their
yeah,
game
because
against them where
they just played Duplo. So
yeah
let's move into them. So League of Shadows, one of the few surviving teams from last season. Few actually, there's a lot of them.
there's
One of
actually
the
quite a few
surviving teams
yeah
from last season. Yeah, there is quite a few. With Flick and Zoe on scouts, New Soldiers, Duo 69, and Rounds, and then Delhi 69 in June on the demo and medic respectively.
so this roster is like really solid. I think that especially getting like the soldiers are upgrades.
I
I
agree.
was not there was a lot of stuff that I like disliked about Slash's playstyle and what he would do in the team last season, which
Yeah,
ended up being like the same shit that his team had like issues with. Like just what like for me like watching it from the outside perspective, like the stuff that I assumed was like correct from like the after getting like the inside scoop. Um,
yeah,
and
like
yeah, having like especially like um, and then like I Scar kind of like he played well in playoffs, but he does just have like really shaky. He's very inconsistent. He's
yeah.
really where he can be good on like I remember him playing for Yak's team and being playing pocket for that team and
Hmm.
being like good for the direct. He was like by far the best player on their team. Um,
Really?
but yeah, I remember like Doey watching the demos back on stream and like it seemed Scar was doing like a lot of like he was making all the correct decisions and facilitating like the weird Yak play style.
Okay, okay. Interesting.
So I like yeah I like because I of course right Scar in like that aspect, but he
Hmm.
doesn't It was clear that he like wasn't taking it as seriously as like people wanted him to. Uh,
Yeah, I think like
as much
last
and
season, like the soldiers like really like it took them a long time to like do something decent together, and
yeah.
it was right in time for them to like get into playoffs and like like look actually good.
So yeah, that was the
Um,
thing. Like I remember watching week 7, which was them versus Witness, where I
yeah,
think didn't they
yeah,
get a point?
yeah, they get the point. They're
Yeah,
the
they got a
first
point.
team.
Like that. Yeah, that was really like watching that game was really good. But from everyone apart from I remember being annoyed at like Scar was doing some like throw plays where it was like you guys could have actually just like won this map outright if Scar wasn't just like getting tilted and then going and taking 1v1s with Pappy and then just like missing every rocket, uh, which was like a really disappointing thing to see in like a playoff match. Not playoff match, but like an important like week game. This is like going into playoffs. This is super like the fact that you're having this
Set
super
to
close
lose.
result in an official. You don't get this thing where you don't get officials that often in TF2. So when you
Hmm.
get them, you need to like treasure them, right? You need to like grind them for everything they're worth and
Right.
get
So
everything
for
you
you, it
can out
was
of
like
it.
a
But
bad sign.
and then like that's like a bad sign to just be like, oh, not like playing the game, um, to
To
like
be
your best level in an official. That's like really bad sign from me. Um,
right. Yeah, I follow.
and so yeah, like and yeah, the Rons and like Rons is someone who Ron's isn't going to do that. He's super passionate. He's going
Yep.
to do what he can to try his best and
Yeah.
really like he's really
So
invested in getting better and not
yeah.
just like even if he will do some weird shit where like he'll go bomb soldiers rather than like the value targets or rather than like taking height. But he's someone that like he must know that that's like an issue with his game and he will like try and fix it, and especially in like officials and stuff. Try
Yeah. And
to
it's also, like
like play
Ron's
play things better.
Ron's is also like I think like
And
just like better like player like like DM wise already than
yeah,
Scar.
yeah,
Like
he's
he didn't
Ron's is
Scar,
super
Ron's is, like
super good
next like yeah,
mechanically.
yeah.
Um,
Like you can tell because like you see them at LAN and they look like a teenager. That's how you know like
yeah.
own everything. Uh,
Uh,
and yeah, and Ron's is there, and Ron's is really good, and I like Ron's a lot. Although like the keyboard configuration is really weird. But Duo is also there, and I think
and then
Duo is like
Duo is super good upgrade for Slash.
yeah,
Like super
kind of
like
like
Duo is really. I
step
think
down. I think
Duo's been slept on a lot. Like I remember
yeah,
watching Duo a couple seasons ago and being like, wow, this guy's actually like really doing good stuff for those like French teams.
yeah,
And like he's someone who was like super underrated where because he sort of I remember he came up from like I think he didn't play Div 1, he went straight to Prem from Div 2,
yeah.
something
He
like
got
that.
picked up by the craft,
And
right?
and I
First
remember like
craft team, like
thinking like
Duo and
back
Mula.
yeah, I remember thinking like, oh man, this guy shouldn't be in Prem, it's like
Yeah,
but he's like
this,
really that's a long time ago now, and he's
mhm,
really shown that he is like a really competent player and can
mhm.
like make plays when they need to be like made. Um,
Very
has
disciplined, I would
yeah,
say.
like this was something that like I have the insider scoop on like slash not slash Flick saying about he doesn't like like Duo would like he hides too much and stuff like that, goes to, like too many like those sort of solo plays where he'd rather play more like as a unit with a team. But I
Yeah,
think that they're gonna it's gonna work out really well for them when if they get everything like in order. They're like they can challenge for top two. Um, they can get like a if like tier 2 easy are slacking, they can get that win. Um, if they're like committed enough for it and have like it does require them to have like Ron's peak and like Zoe and etc peak in the official against TF2 Easy.
I agree with you.
But
And
like
they can
if that
also
happens, they can really like put up a really good showing against TF2 Easy, which is why it's like so disappointing to see them like mess about in their officials. It's like really
yeah, yeah. I
it's
remember like
really upsetting to see from me where like you guys like should just be like like
this is like
honestly
really good
yeah
training, even if you don't win.
yeah they should just I know it's this thing where like it's TF2 right. I know like Delhi he's of course not someone that cares like enough. He's there to like mess about and shoot pipes and um like
Like
have his like psycho play style. Um yeah
I feel like to play in Prime, you have to care a little bit.
yeah
Like
yeah. I'm not saying he doesn't care at all, but he definitely like
definitely like
he
the odd
doesn't
one.
like he doesn't care as much as Flick does. Flick really cares. Like Flick is very like passionate about TF2, and you can see that from the fact he's like he's what streaming every day. He has like 180 like past 2 weeks hours in the game. Like
Yeah,
Flick is
Flick
super
has had like
committed.
a bit of a glow up. I want to say like like
Yeah,
it wasn't like they were
this
bad. They really like I think took it to the next level in the last like what 2 seasons.
yeah, that's the thing. I remember me and you talking about for the pilot for the show, like talking about like how Flick like I remember saying that they were the better team than New Pants last season, but I still predicted New Pants to win because I was like, oh, surely like that they have like the I don't know. I just wasn't. I should have trusted like what I was saying, right? Because I was saying all the reasons why I thought
You didn't
TF2 that
believe.
yeah, I just didn't believe. Like I gave all the reasons why I thought they would win that game, but then still went with New Panzer in the end. Uh,
Yeah,
but and then yeah, they did end up like beating New Panzer, and that had like a cascade effect on like New Panzer playing at LAN and things like that.
oh yeah, I remember
Uh,
that the domino effect. Yeah, it was funny.
so where
Um,
uh, like so yeah, so I think that Flick and he's honestly really good, and he's someone that he takes like responsibility for it.
yeah,
There's of course there's gonna be sometimes that because he is still like young and a bit immature where he can blame other people, but for the most part he's gonna take like responsibility for his mistakes and like work to fix them. And then
agree. And I
like on
think
the rest of
like the vibe of the team is also like pretty nice.
and
You can
yeah
tell that
they're also like
like
oh yeah
like they're not gonna like hopefully they're not gonna like disband in week 2 because a lot of them are like actually friends with each
yeah
other.
yeah they're all friends like they're June and Flick and shit, they're all like talking a lot
Mhm.
doing stuff outside the game, which is like really really good to see.
And I think like the end to last season, like beating the Panzer, and it's like close game against Witness and everything. Like it really
Yeah,
like
that's gonna incentivize
does.
them to.
Yeah, they look hungry, like they wanna
Yeah.
do more. And I think like yeah, I agree. I think they have like the potential to do more. I think like the question is not really like how they perform against like the top teams, because I feel like they would be really focused on that. I'm more worried about them like dropping points like weirdly
Yeah,
somewhere.
that's something. Yeah, I was saying about like Venom Crest might get an upset win against them, like
Yeah,
just because like they don't take the game seriously, and then Yak just like again like Yak pulls out some psycho shit and just
Jack's
rolls
like
them.
inside everyone's
Uh,
head, like all the time. He's not even inside his own head. It's just like inside everyone's faces.
yeah, like oh
And,
yeah, like the Yak shit talk might get to them.
mhm.
And
But yeah,
like
like
yeah.
and since it's just like a close season, like those like tiny points drop, could mean like actually like a lot of difference compared
Yeah,
to
yeah,
like
it can be like the difference between them getting like second seed and them getting like fourth seed, right?
yeah, I could even see them like missing out on it, to be honest. Like if they get like
Yeah.
pretty unlucky in front.
Yeah, that's because it's like a battle between um like them and the Yams team where uh
Yeah,
like yeah
we'll
that's
see.
yeah.
But also like there's like potential teams, like the Frenchies, both of them,
Mm-hmm.
or Duplo, or they play Duplo actually. I'm full of shit. Uh, but yeah, like they have. I don't know if they have the potential for playoffs, but I definitely think they have potential to like be annoying against League of Shadows for sure. And like you lose enough points against those, you could like lose out to like like an hungry team who like manages to like eke out tiny results,
Mm-hmm.
tiny
Oh,
score lines rather.
yeah. But
Yeah,
overall I'm confident in them to get that third place and then to have a really interesting game against TF2 Easy for playoffs, like during the season and in playoffs. Like I'm really interested in that game.
I
Um,
agree. I think like yeah, I think like I said it before, I'll say it again. I think the playoffs last season really like changed them, from like oh like we're just gaming to like we could actually like contest, like we could, it's within our grasp, and I think they will carry on forward. All right, that's it for me on League of Shadows.
yeah, I think that's enough.
Yeah, so then top two, right? I think we've had everything else.
No, we haven't talked about Am's team.
Hey, Amsteam, interesting Amsteam. I think like we did talk a bit like during
We talked, yeah,
qualifiers.
both about the qualifier thing, but like them like going into Prem now,
Yeah,
like where
that's
it's.
true.
I
Where
think
do they?
actually, yeah, we did kind of talk, but I just like reiterate like just quick like
Mhm.
thing on about yeah, where it's like it's about Am's like stepping up and coming back to his like old level. Haunts like yeah, he really needs to step up and get to the level of everyone else. But like Yeehaw's gonna be consistent. Like Fancy and yeah, and it's also like is Condog gonna do some funny like some funny plays and pop I'm
Yeah,
sorry, not pop and just
Condog,
drop like
yeah.
random stuff.
I'm a Condog fan. I think Condog's a really good meta.
I think Condog's really good, especially like it's just the atmosphere he also provides is super good. Like,
Yeah,
um, it's always fun to play with
I,
Condog and just to
yeah,
interact with Condog. Uh,
yeah, and I think like as a med, like you get like a few like funny moments. Like funny moments they happen in TF2, but as a
yeah,
med, like
yeah, like his med,
they just
like you can
become your
just have some
reputation.
weird shit where like oh like there was another guy in and I dropped or whatever. Like things weren't like called properly for me or I like thought I could
Yeah.
milk something that I couldn't. Um,
Like you're
but yeah,
such a more like reactive class compared to the other, but like it
yeah,
looks a bit worse if like your prediction is wrong or something.
and yeah, he just has to make sure he doesn't like walk river alone this
Okay,
time.
this one was really funny.
So
But
yeah,
yeah, like
that's
you see
yeah,
what
and
you're talking about.
I'm
It's also
confident
like
in them.
something
I
that
feel like
happened.
they're not going to uh they shouldn't beat the Flick team. The Flick team should be better than them. And the Flick team should like
Yeah, I think
it'll
that's
it'll be an
big
interesting
question mark.
game. Again, like it's another one of those things. But we're saying it'll be interesting, but
Yeah,
it should be. And because I feel like just especially because the fact I think that it's also the thing where like the AMS like Pocket AMS on Pocket Scout isn't like the best like use of him. Like he's just better on Pocket Soldier. And he'd just be better like on that role. And to where I think that like if they could have gotten like a better scout, not better scout. Like I'm not saying he's like bad on scout, but it's just a thing where um
one would like help like
it leads to like
unlock.
their playstyle, like the playstyle, like the AMS pocket scout. It comes a lot
Mm-hmm.
from like Zebasai, where it's like oh AMS is gonna take all the beam and then like run at people.
Run in. Yeah,
Um, and they're gonna take like a lot of messy fights where I feel that it's not gonna work like super well against the top um against like a Witness or a TF2 Easy because they're just gonna have like the better players and the better like
yeah,
coordination having played with each other for so long. Like it even applies to like League of Shadows where they play together and are going to have just a better chance of
So this
having
for
better
you like
coordination in these like messy fights than the AMS team are.
so for you like this is where like the difference, like like the skill difference or like the gameplay difference
Yeah,
comes in.
yeah,
Yeah, but I think it's also interesting that like they have Charlie on the roster. Like I think like Charlie's like sure like they were like used to like calling everything all the time, and they're not gonna call as much now. But I think like they do have like a lot of potential as a caller. Like they did lead good teams, so I feel like they could also like hopefully like inject
yeah.
some variations in the playstyle.
Yeah, I need to like look into how the calling structure like works in that team. I've not really spoken to Charlie in a while.
Yeah,
Uh, I need
I
to
would
get
assume
on
that
that.
like Charlie speaks, right? Because if your soldiers don't
Well, yeah,
speak,
he's, of course he's like going to speak and stuff, but I feel like it's going to be more like he's like not deciding like the macro stuff. The macro stuff's going to be down to AMS and like Condog, and them deciding like how their play style is going to play out and like what they're going to do in these situations. And it's like Charlie calling like adaptions to that during like these fights
yeah,
and like things that can, like if he gets a good opportunity and then the fight can like change, like the macro call can change slightly based on what Charlie's doing. Um,
we'll see. But I think like personally, like I don't know Charlie, but personally, I think like Charlie like if they have like I guess the confidence, like the room to like do like some more macro calls like every now and then, I think it would be like a really a strong asset for the team.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely between them and League of Shadow, I think, but also like I think like the AMS team, Comedy Shorts Gaming, have like in a way, like I don't expect them to stumble as much compared to League of Shadows, like against like quote unquote weaker teams.
Well, you say that, but then they did have that like really shaky game against Swift in the playoffs,
You
in
know,
the
I'm
qualifiers.
I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. I think like it's an early game. They're only gonna get better.
Mm.
I just think like they have too much experience to get like rattled
Yeah,
by like
yeah,
lower team. Like being like annoying.
and I feel yeah like the rest of them, even if because it's really only like yeah that applies to like haunts and then sorry like the rattling like type stuff like the inexperience like applies to haunts. And then I feel that because Charlie was like clutching the fuck up in their granary game, Charlie was playing super well and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like yeah Charlie's shown that he is like still like really good pickup for Pocket Soldier on a team in Europe.
Yeah. So like I still agree with you. Like I would expect to see like League of Shadows beat them. Like in playoffs, for example. But I could also see a world where like
Like yeah, I can
they
see it. Well, like if they get the right map veto, they get the right like everyone like it's a thing where like it takes like if League of Shadows have some like tilt in the comms and stuff like that, and then the AMS team like just with like AMS experience is able to like pull them through a close game. I can see that happening, yeah. But I'm
Mm,
gonna go with like League of Shadows like above them still.
yeah. Oh, okay. And then we top two.
And then top two, yeah. Then it's
No, let's TF2 Easy first because
TF2
they did have
Easy.
a roster swap.
Yeah, they swapped out Seeds for Auto.
Yeah.
I assume
It's a medic change. Like it's not gonna change like the DNA of the team, but and Otto's pretty good. I just feel like losing Seeds is always like a bit rough, right? Because it's Seeds. Seeds is
yeah
pretty good at medic. I've been led to believe.
yeah yeah. But I also like I rate Auto a lot. I really like Auto and think that he does have that like he did win Prem with these guys against like that's not even like a Mickey Mouse season because that's against Witness.
Yeah.
Um, so it's not even like even if he did like have Syl and Syl was like really good that season. And
Yeah.
like
No.
it like they kind of just like did have like the um like the Witness roster was like a bit gimped. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I still feel that yeah like also it's just like yeah it's just medic replacement and I feel he's not going to be like it's not like they're going to have
It's not gonna be noticeable.
it's not going to be super noticeable. And
Yeah.
also, it's like he's someone that he is like super keen. He's playing all the time. He plays Pogs, and he can play like he's another one of these people who can play different classes up to a high level. So, um,
Yeah. That's fair. But yeah. So I mean, I don't know if you want to like go through a roster again, or if you just want to like talk about
oh
potential.
yeah. So we have Morale,
Yeah.
aka Kunu, aka Koff, Gazi, Nubby, Josh, Nasboy, and also so yeah,
Yeah.
Gazi Flank Scout, Nubby Roma, Josh Pocket, Nasboy Demo. Uh, I feel that so like we're going through like everyone's of course like super solid on this roster.
Mhm.
There's like no real like weak link. It just comes down to like their style. Like Josh, he's a very like aggressive caller.
Mhm.
Even though like that didn't come through much in like it's like the thing where I remember them saying like all this stuff at LAN about all like Cadus, like coach, whatever for Witness, and he's
Yeah.
making it like bad, but they didn't like in the grand finals of last season. They showed that they were just playing the same game as Witness were, where they're just gonna do this like instead of like single sacking, they're single sacking but with man treads. Like it's not really like a lot of innovation that they're like making happen.
Yeah, I don't really see like two play styles colliding, you know.
It's more just that same like slow European grind out like the small advantages to get a
Yeah.
win.
Well,
Um,
maybe like having like, like this one opponent for so long, like makes them like, like become really similar because like they haven't really figured out something else, like maybe we're gonna see like some more aggression rather against like different
yeah,
teams.
yeah. I mean, I would like to like because it's always hard to in TF2 it's hard to have those like conflicting styles like work out super well. Like I think it can like Froyo showed that they can have these aggressive like stuff work against the European
Hmm.
style. Um, to where like I feel TF2 Easy like they could try out some different thing like rather than just letting it like things stalemate out. Like getting picks on the flank and like trying to force like the like messy fights. Um, and just playing off of because they do have like even though Gazi's not Gazi's still mechanically really good.
Yeah,
He's a smart player, all these things. Um, but I just don't feel that. Um, and like nobody's just like nobody's of course like he's really good mechanically.
yeah,
Like of course has to be like decently smart to get his timings to work and all these things. But I just feel that they just get like shut down by like the like Syl can just 1v2 that flank. Like it's unfortunate just how good Syl is compared to them. Where like he is just like above them in that aspect to where like the Pappy
yeah,
and Syl like soldier combo is just better. The Tomas Ixie combo is just better. Like Domo on demo. Um I'm not like I think maybe like the demo is like the most even thing.
yeah.
Um
But I would give a slight edge to
Demo
Domo
Demo
still.
and Medic are like even. You'd give it slightly to Domo.
A slight edge to Domo, yeah, I
Are you
think.
sure that's not just because like the team is better?
Maybe, yeah, maybe that's true. Maybe it's just like it pops up more. But I also like,
Mm.
like Domo like hadn't played demo in like like who knows how many seasons, fucking like 8 or something, and then
And
like
he
shows up and like he's really good. So I feel
he
like
was
they're
really good.
really
Yeah, that is true. Like where um it was quite surprising just how good he was on LAN. Um
yeah. So like I would expect Domo to get better to be honest.
so
Like
yeah,
with more.
that's true as well. Where Nasboy's kind of just stayed at like the same level
Yeah,
for a
that's why it's really
while.
good too.
Um
Don't get me wrong.
and yeah, I think yeah, Nasboy's good, but he's definitely not like a standout on the team.
Yeah,
And then when you're like he's not the standout, but he's the only one that you can say is like comparable to his component on the other team. Uh it kind of just
yeah. I mean, I feel like that's also like the way Naspo's plays. To be fair, like Naspo is always like very solid in those games. Like like doesn't really
mm,
feed weirdly usually. Like always like dish out good damage.
yeah.
Like maybe they can't stand out. Because it's the way they play.
And then like also in Muller's really good. Um,
Mula has like nerves of steel, man.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's
Muller was super like good on LAN. I feel.
which was nice because it was also like they didn't really have like this sort of experience compared to like a lot of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
other
That's
players.
the thing with last
And on
LAN.
medic, it's really rough. Like you do. I would expect like people to get the pressure, but yeah, like about TF2 Easy. Clearly, like we're talking about Witness a lot. Like I think for me, obviously, it's the main question. They've played like Witness like a lot of times, and they haven't really came out on top ever since like Silentes like joined them.
Mm.
Like like they haven't looked bad, but they've always looked like like a step
They
behind.
they are just they're always perennially second best. But I
Yeah, so
feel
like
that and it's the type of thing I'm not really sure like how they can actually like overcome that. That's like
mhm.
the thing that it's very difficult to like analyze as to where how they're gonna get that advantage over um Witness. Where like could it just be that like if they and it's going to take like way too much effort for like a TF2 team to accomplish that. I feel, even though
I feel like
there's land coming up, like that could be a really good incentive for them to really knuckle down and like work out how to just like counter like Witness. But
yeah, I think like I would expect like I don't know a lot about TF2 compared to you. I would expect them to like either like like really crunch down on like like Witness demos or something and like try to figure out ways to like beat them and only them, right? Like I feel like you could see that in Witness against Froyo. Like Witness like had a lot of like ideas and things to try out against Froyo, and I think a lot of them like paid off to an extent. But also think like sure like maybe like it's TF2 like who has the time to do that. I still would expect TF2 Easy to like try
Invest
to
the
like not
time, yeah.
get bitten mentally as well. Because I feel like you lose against the same team for like so many times,
And yeah,
it
that's
might drag you down. I still expect them like to like get up and fight. Like
yeah
I
that
feel like this is a team with enough ego, with enough like
well
desire.
that's the thing where I feel that winners have the mental edge as well with that aspect. I feel that having like watch like the were they Nerd Rage at the time? Um like scrims, like the VODs of their scrims where like they can get really annoyed over like some minor stuff, and they do have like really big egos on TF2 Easy, to where like that like things can probably like go wrong in officials where like especially against like their rivals where if they go like a round down, they're gonna still of course like be in the game, maybe not round down, but if they go like a couple rounds down the first map and then it's like they lose it and it doesn't look like they can actually have a chance. um
Yeah, you
I
think they
feel
get
like
inside
they're
their
gonna
head?
get inside their own heads and
Yeah.
um
Well, this is where like then I would expect like TF2 Easy to like improve. Then I feel like you're still
yeah.
like a really good team.
And that's the
You
thing
can
where like
like
yeah,
score
it's
goals.
disappointing. Like I hope that that's not how they still are. I hope they have like gone past that and are a
Mm-hmm.
lot more just like focused on winning the game, keeping like the outside like oh we don't get on with each other like out of it. Because it feels like the rivalry between Witness and TF2 Easy is like very genuine. Like it's one of the um I can't think in Europe of the last time that a rivalry was like actually no these two teams just like actually don't like each other.
And
Where
I
like
mean, to
they
be fair, even like I think in TF2 it's pretty rare. Like there's no money on the line. People usually play with each other because it's a small like player base. Like you don't really see this sort of stuff like six people versus six people.
anyway, I feel like I want to like recant it a bit. It's of course like like Gazzy's gonna get on well with the people on TF2 Easy, not with people on Witness, and there's of course like crossover, but like
Hmm.
the sort of like yeah, that's like
Like
the
whenever
vibe
they
they get
like
is that they are like very, especially with the stuff at LAN with like
yeah,
them
pre-game scream and
like
everything.
going over like allegedly going over and like giving Froyo tips on like how to beat Witness and or like refute like playing giving Froyo like a warm up for the grand final and scrimming them and stuff, like rather than scrimming Witness. Uh,
I would say they had a good reason. I thought I'm a TF2
I
Easy
yeah yeah like I see the like it's the only time Froyo's gonna be in Europe. It's a good like experience to get, but at the same time like I feel that I know if I was in that position, I'm more inclined to go with like, all right, you beat us, like good for you. Now we're gonna help. We're gonna try and like assist you in beating the darned Americans. Um,
I mean that's how you see it's a real rivalry. Like they were like
they actually get they weren't willing to like put aside their like yeah rivalry with each other to help Europe. They just wanted to spite each other.
yeah. It's because like Britain's not in the EU anymore, so they
Oh,
don't think.
true, true.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think TF2 Easy. To be fair, like you said, I think I really agree with like the fact that there is land coming, and it's gonna be like a very nice like focus point for this team. I think like um, they're gonna like treat this season, like with enough seriousness because they want to improve, but also like they're not gonna like hopefully not gonna like crumble as much
Yeah, yeah,
because
they're not going to overfocus on the
it's
season. There's
yeah.
land coming up, and the land's going to be like that's the thing where because it'll be because nobody's he's played at land now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
everyone else like apart from Auto, is it Auto? I don't know if they're playing with Auto at land or not. To be honest, I haven't asked
I
Auto.
don't I
Um,
don't think so.
but yeah, like the rest of them had all like played on LAN. I'm pretty sure maybe Gazzy had Gazzy.
Has he played like the German land if that counts?
Yeah, but I don't think he played like an international. So that was like yeah, I think maybe like
Yeah,
yeah,
it
that
was
was
a
their
very new
flanks like first LAN. Although
round.
I swear Gazzy must have been at a LAN before then, but I don't know.
I'm not
Um,
sure to be honest, no, because like the last line was like
yeah,
I-65, and
yeah,
then like Gazi was like not around, I think.
okay. So yeah, I feel that maybe like they'll be able to perform. But it was also like who on? Cause I think Witness they'd all played like at LAN before, right?
I think
Maybe not
Ixie
Ixie, maybe yeah, not Ixie, but then
and Mula
like
was like
Thomas
very
has,
fresh.
Pappy has,
Yeah,
Sil of course
Doma,
has. Sil's
yeah,
like he's one LAN. Has
yeah,
wait, Sil won with 7, right?
yeah. Sil
Wait,
was like
did he win it?
I-65.
No, no, did he?
Yeah, I-65
Okay,
winner.
when I just yeah, but was he on Ascent at Copenhagen?
Still, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he was on second. So yeah,
Venom
came
Crest,
second to Copenhagen.
yeah.
Um, and so yeah, like the LAN like experience like of course, like plays out into Witness's favor still. Um,
Hmm.
but I
But
hope
yeah,
that
I feel
maybe
like
like yeah, Nubby and that's the thing where like I don't remember. I guess I was too drunk. As you know, I was not like watching the games at LAN. Uh,
confessions. I haven't seen the games either. I was
yeah,
like this,
yeah. So where like
like
I'm
at
not
the
sure like how Nubby played. So that's something I'd be really interested in is to see like how he was doing on his first LAN.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's of course someone who's like super good online.
Yep.
Um, but
And
yeah,
Nabi seemed fine. Like the few moments I interacted with him, at least,
hmm,
I feel like they don't seem like someone who gets really pressured.
yeah, yeah.
But
Uh,
yeah, I mean, you're right. I think first LAN is always a bit like you get the jitters. I think most players do.
and it's also just about like because especially like these BYOC lands like you're having
Yeah,
to
that's
on
true.
these awful tables and have a crummy setup for it. So
Hmm.
um, and a different monitor than you're used to, and it's a different like height and distance away from you. Uh,
Yeah, but yeah, like now it's all in the past. TF2 Easy like are gonna be able to like I think capitalize on this experience and uh yeah, like look beyond this season to hopefully like like keep their focus and their cool.
yeah,
And let's round this up with Witness Gaming. We've
yeah.
talked about
Witness.
Witness
I mean
like
that I don't
incidentally
think we
because
need to say too much. They're like by far they're like the favorites to win the season.
they're strong
Um,
favorites.
strong favorites to win the season. Uh, everyone on the roster is like probably. Would you say that they're the best in their roles?
I think
It's like it's a toss up between like Ixie and Ghazi, but then I feel like after that it's kind of just like Tomas is better than Kunu, Silly's
like
better than Nubby, Pappy's better than Josh, Domo's
I
better than
think
Nas as
everyone,
you said.
yeah, everyone
Um,
deserves to be like in the conversation at the very least. Like
yeah,
there's no clear like like weak link where you're like, oh, this guy is like you could just replace them with
yeah,
someone else.
yeah.
So but yeah, no, I think like Witness Gaming like like there's some really strong favorites to win the season. They haven't changed anyone, which is like really good. I think it's
Hmm.
always like really
Yeah, the
important
fact
to
they're
like
staying together as like the 6 man lineup is super
yeah.
good.
And yeah, like I guess the only question I have for them or like regarding them is like like uh how silly do you
Will
think they're
Yak
gonna
win
take?
Granary against them?
That's the question. They're gonna insta ban Granary,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the big ban system is where they took no chances. Uh but yeah, like like you were telling me like before like Freo got confirmed that LAN, which was pretty late in the season. But like like Witness played like TF2 Easy week one and won like pretty handily. I think it was like 5-3, 5-1. And then like they kind of like kicked back and relaxed because like they thought they had this season wrapped up already. Like they just beat the opponents pretty comfortably. Like they don't need to try anymore. Like like do you think like losing LAN like changed them? Do you think they really want to like
um, well, I think it's
go
kind
hard?
they were like I don't know. Um, it's kind of difficult to when they don't have like the if if like the same Freo roster was going to come to Berlin. No, it's not Berlin. It's Hamburg. If the
Yeah, it
same
is.
Pro was going to come to Hamburg, then I think that they would be, still like mega keen and like practicing a lot and trying to like get to like get their revenge on Freo. But the fact that it's just them just playing TF2 Easy, and they are just like the better team, the better roster, the better team. Um, like Pappy and Tomas are super good together. Uh, it's very like it's very hard to like stay motivated in these positions. Like you see it the same like Seven when like Seven back in the day would just win every season, and eventually like people like us Stark were just like I'm just gonna go jump instead of like playing TF2 now, and like same with Captain where they're just gonna play
Yeah,
jump rather than like compete because there's no like you don't get like once you've won a few times you don't get the same feeling of like
yeah, there's way less
accomplishment, even
incentives.
though it's like it's you should say about think about your legacy, about like you be the only teams that like it'd be cool if Pappy cared about somehow managing to beat like the getting more like prem wins than Cadus or like not Cadus but
Yeah,
like the
that's true.
seven roster in general. Like
Hmm.
that'd be like cool, but I don't think like that's just gonna say like it takes far too long for him to do that, and then
Hmm.
uh
And it's hard to like I think get motivated as well because like over the seasons, right? Like some seasons are just like you call them like Mickey Mouse seasons, right? Like
yeah.
just by happenstance, like there's no like real competition. This hasn't really happened for this iteration of Witness Gaming, but like it definitely like happened in the past, and I feel like it's kind of the things where like it like it makes you feel like you can easily check out of the game and still win, like, and then you get the habit kind of thing.
Hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, I mean, I think like do you think like there's there's a world where like Witness stumbles a little. Like,
No, I really don't feel that they will. I feel like they're pretty solid to just win this season.
yeah, I think like
And
2 months, it's a long time. Like
and
maybe
yeah, it
like
depends. Like because we can talk about like later in the season if we can see those shakes. But like going into it, I'm fully confident in the Witness boys to just close it out.
yeah, they've
Um,
looked really strong. I would tend to agree. Yeah. So this could be like a good transition to like the prediction things. Like we're both putting Witness at number one.
yeah.
Do you want to do it like 1 to 8, or do you wanna?
Let me get like a. I'll stream like paint to you.
Okay.
On a wow. So yeah. We just have like a table. Wow. No, I just like
Great.
do the thing. So
There's the text tool. Yeah, yeah, you don't have to
yeah,
draw
yeah.
this.
Was it just like so? Just Witness number one.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that. And then I think number two we can agree it's gonna be for fence.
Yeah. So and then number two, it's like it should be just League of Shadow, not League of Shadows. Sorry, it should just be TF2 Easy. And then like
Yeah,
with
I
like
think
it's actually like and then it's like hit and miss between them and like League of Shadows. Like on if League of Shadows can get like a super good game against them because like having looked at like gone through the roster and talked about TF2 Easy, I'm less inclined to like go with my League of Shadows like prediction to like cause an upset. It will
yeah,
if they win it, it will be an upset. Like but
I agree with you. I think like as the season evolves, maybe things will change. But as it stands right now, I don't think they have what it takes just yet.
mm-hmm.
Um,
And then after it's like Am's team, right?
I mean, honestly, like personally,
Confucius game.
like I'm gonna go like I'm gonna put one of my hot takes already. I think like Amsteam has what it takes to like leapfrog League of Shadows.
League of Shadows. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I think that I mean that's true.
we can have two lists. You can have yours, I can have mine.
No, I want us to have like the same list that we just argue about.
Okay.
Like the
Yeah.
cause I feel I do see your point, and I am sort of like inclined to go with it. Like Am's is of course like really good, and I rate Charlie a lot. It'd be cool to see Charlie beat Flick. After
That's
like
correct.
cause I know there's a thing where like Flick won't play with Charlie.
Yeah, more rivalries in TF2. I'm all up
Yeah.
for it.
Um, but I just feel that like they are just having played together and Flick is like standing up. Flick is performing really well.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I think you're right. Like I think if they played today, League of Shadow would win. Like
but maybe yeah, it depends on like when. Let me have a look at this when they play each other in the season.
it's like week 5 or week 6. I checked.
It's
It's
like
like pretty far
okay,
away.
Schultz Gaming. They play League of Shadows week 4 actually, so that's not too.
I
That's
want to count.
yeah. I'm like that's a month of playing together. I feel they could maybe like
Yeah, definitely
be
like interesting with like the new big band system as well. There's like a lot of like more
yeah.
tactical decision.
Who and then this is where it becomes tricky. Like after the top 4,
Uh, let me think about. Let's think about it through elimination. I don't think it's gonna be Venom Crest. I don't see Venom Crest at number 5.
so you're going right down to the bottom.
I'm just thinking aloud.
Okay.
And then I don't really see 238 either. For me, it's between. Yeah, I guess. Honestly, I'm gonna say for fence. Yeah?
You want 4 fence to the bottom?
No, I'd like number 5.
Number 5. Okay, right.
Yeah, because I think like they win against like Duplo, and I think like 238 like is just a team that will probably like die, or like just drop points here and there because they seem like a bit random.
I'm less in like I do rate. I think the 4 fence. Yeah, they do show the potential.
Mhm.
But having like when you compare like the two rosters between like 2038 and like actually no, yeah, 4 fence. Yeah, they have Neo's like I think that just the mechanically they're going to be able to like best the rest of these teams.
Yeah, I think
Even though
that's
like 24 and like yeah, the synergy together. Even though Aelkyr of course is going to like do fuckloads of damage and hits pipes and
yeah,
demos like 2038 losing on callback is like a big
yeah, it's a
thing.
big hit.
I feel like do you want to put like I feel like I want to put 2038 like next then.
Really, honestly, like I really don't rate 2038.
You really don't rate
I think,
them?
no, I think they just they like they still like I would expect still like some lack of leadership. I think like they also have like some like ego potential. I feel like those are like really experienced players.
No, but I feel that like I agree with you if they had Trum instead of Patchouli, but I feel that they're going to be a lot more chill with like I feel that they'll be alright. I'm confident in them to not like tilt and um.
Yeah, okay. Then there's a world where they get good. You're right.
Eh,
So you can put 2048 here, I think. Yeah.
well, it's kind of because I would of course I want to put my boys Duplo in, but I feel that they're just not. They're not
I would
gonna
have
like. Yeah, I
I
feel
would
like
have put Duplo here if it was me and just me, but you do make good points. It's gonna be close, definitely. Like it's gonna be like a few points between those teams.
so yeah. I feel yeah like the bottom. I feel this is where it would have been like actually better to do it as like a tier list, because we can sort of like say because this is like very binary. Like it's just one team. Like
That's
okay,
true.
like okay. So do I think the Venom Crest are gonna beat Duplo? Do you
Nah.
think? Nah. Okay.
Unless like there's like some like
Do you think Duplo are gonna beat 2038? Oh wait, I just put 20.
I feel like they would die, but maybe like 2048 would get like more points over
Oh
the
wait, no,
course
it
of
is.
it.
Oh, I just went completely wrong, haven't I? I just given. What am I doing? What I typed? There we go. That's the right team then.
I feel like the win 2038 are really close. I guess yeah, 2038, like could win more points like elsewhere. I would expect like some sort of tied result between those two teams, to be honest.
Yeah. I feel that's the thing where like Duplo are gonna have like competitive results against people, but they aren't going to
Yeah,
like
I don't
get
see.
points. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the.
or maybe like 1 point, or two.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. Okay, I feel this. I agree with this list. Apart from like, I feel like Yak shouldn't be like
yeah.
I am.
Kind of get the short end of the stick because
Yeah,
like
I mean
unless
it's
you
just a
do like
competitive season. Like that's where I think that it's kind of Well, I don't feel like Yak would have made it through playoffs. That's the thing where like before, like I think that they should have made playoffs like they would have made it through qualifiers.
hmm
Um, and they would have lost to a Swift or uh fuck the process. Uh, so but they are still like an upset potential team, right? They're still like a
yeah,
good. They still like it's still scary to play them. They're not. It's not like an easy game, but it's just that like on paper and
yeah,
well, not even just on paper, but just like knowing how their play style, you'd expect them to lose. Uh, but
yeah. I
it's
feel like yeah, kind of gets like shafted by the fact that like uh yeah, like it's just like the way they are, right? Like I just don't really think of them as like contenders, but at the same time, like if they pick up enough points to like the three team above them, they're definitely not last. It's more like
yeah. I mean, this is sort of like isn't yeah. It's weird because it's sort of like a rating of the teams rather than
mhm,
rating how they'll place in the season. Like I would rate them below these teams, but
yeah,
can they get like a map win off of Four Fence and a map win off of like League of Shadows, and then they just end up being like third from last rather than just like dead last, that type
yeah,
of thing. Um,
it's a good point.
but yeah, I feel that
Maybe you just put like an asterisk next to Yak's team, and they're like the wild card.
I feel that this is that's our list,
Yeah, I
and
think
that's good enough.
you need like some controversy to get people to watch it.
Fuck Yak is the
Uh,
controversial opinion.
Short dance, this is like the subtitle of the podcast.
All right,
Alright,
is that
that's it.
a that's it? I feel yeah.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to like and subscribe.
Yeah. See ya,
Oh, yeah.
everybody. Bye bye.